Ever heard of Jardines del Humaya? Behold, Sinaloa Cartel's Grand Cemetery, and is situated right outside the city of Sinaloa, Mexico itself. Guess why this cemetery is so popular? It's a lavish site built for many notable men. The deceased are honored with grand mausoleums and almost royal-level burial places which are heavily guarded, fully air-conditioned, and even furnished. There are many infamous kingpins who are laid to rest here. It also houses the founder of Sinaloa Cartel, El Nacho, or Ignacio Coronel Villareal, among others, who wreaked havoc for power. In particular, here lies someone you might remember, Manuel Torres Félix, better known as LM1, or El Ondeado, which means the Crazy One. Now, why do you think they named him the Crazy One? Well, sit tight and follow along, as we reveal the truth behind LM1's deranged and, unstable episodes that got him this title. Manuel Fidel Torres Félix's story is truly remarkable. He came from a humble background, born in 1958 to a poor family in the small village of Cosala near Sinaloa. In 1990, he started working for the Sinaloa Cartel, though he wasn't very well known at first. However, everything changed when his brother, Javier Torres Félix, JT, became a prominent member of the cartel, mentored by the infamous Juan Manuel Salcido Uzeta, also known as El Coche Loco. This marked the turning point in Manuel's life, leading him to rise in popularity within the cartel. El Coche Loco had many secrets. The meaning of El Coche Loco is crazy pig, and he definitely lived up to that title. He had a double life that no one really knew about. Coche Loco lived as a ranger in the agricultural state of Coquimatlan, Colima. He was a friend of friends, donated uniforms to the local football team, and helped many people around him. He had even befriended the state governor, Elias Zamora Verduzco. The reality behind his true nature came out only after his passing. He was involved with narcotics and a lot of it. He once stole 8 tons of white powder from Colombian narco-traffickers, and that cost him his life. El Coche Loco's double life finally came out, and everyone knew about it. There was no hiding the truth. After El Coche Loco's passing, Javier Torres became Sinaloa Cartel's main narcotics trafficker, under the guidance of Joaquin Guzman, the infamous El Chapo's rule. He was a true narco lord in the making, but his arrests left an empty spot in the hierarchy and no one else could fill it up but Manuel Torres Félix. Though not initially the first choice, Manuel Félix began working for the most notorious cartel in the world, the Sinaloa Cartel. Soon after his induction among the big players, Manuel Torres Félix began talking to the big shots of the narco empire. He worked with Ovidio Guzman, El Chapo's son. His father, Joaquin Guzman, was one of the most wanted men in all of Mexico before his arrest, and extradited to the US, where he faced severe organized crime and narcotic trafficking charges. One of the main strengths of the Sinaloa Cartel is based on blood alliance. Most members of the cartel are family, either by blood or marriage. This gave birth to many factions of the Sinaloa Cartel headed by different families, and all protected each other against the law enforcement agencies. But sometimes trouble brewed between these factions, and cartel wars take place where the only answer is widespread devastation. Amidst the horrors that Manuel Torres Félix inflicted, he met another equally sinister member of the Sinaloa Cartel, Arturo Beltran Leyva. Neither man knew at the time of their first meeting that they would become the most hateful enemies towards each other. Arturo was one of the 5 brothers who started the Beltran Leyva cartel. The brothers included Marcos Arturo, Carlos, Alfredo, Alberto, and Hector. The Beltran Leyva organization, BLO, were known as the Beltran Leyva Cartel. Founded as a part of the Sinaloa Cartel, the Beltran Leyva Cartel was responsible for transportation and wholesaling of white powder, opiate, and cannabis. It controlled numerous underworld trafficking corridors and engaged in human smuggling, money laundering, extortion, kidnapping, murder, and weaponry. The Beltran Leyva Cartel broke off from the Sinaloa Cartel when Arturo was arrested, and it's believed El Chapo was to blame for their arrests. The rivalry between the Sinaloa Cartel and the Beltran Leyva Cartel is what would drive Manuel Torres Félix mad. The events following the separation of the Beltran-Leyva cartel impacted Torres Félix's mental state, leading to episodes of instability and violent tendencies. This triggered a new alias from LM1 to El Ondeado, or the Crazy One. Due to their close association with El Chapo and El Mayo, the Beltran-Leyva cartel saw the Torres Félix brothers as prime targets. At first, they aimed for Manuel Félix's nephew, but the situation escalated when a hail of bullets struck a moving car carrying El Ondeado's son, El Tacho, Atanasio Torres Acosta, who was just 20 years old, along with his 4-year-old daughter Alondra and 24-year-old sister-in-law Sandra Heredia. The devastating rain of bullets left Manuel's daughter and sister-in-law severely injured. Atanasio lost his life that fateful day in 2008. This heart-wrenching event marked the beginning of Manuel Torres Félix's descent into madness. A note was left for El Ondeado to read on the site of the car ambush, and it read, "On behalf of your friend Arturo and his nephews Los Zetas, so you can understand, Manuel Torres." The message was supposedly written by Arturo Beltran-Leyva. It was clear to El Ondeado that Arturo was responsible, and then began the cartel war that will be remembered for the years to come. The grief and sadness that followed drove Torres Félix mad. It was since that day that he laid out a target on anyone and everyone connected to the Beltran-Leyva cartel. He was out to get revenge, and there was no stopping him. A few months later, at the same site of the car ambush, a gruesome discovery was made. 2 men's remains were found, one with his head removed and the other with his thumb severed. Just like several other bodies in the nearby areas, one of the bodies had an orange bow attached to it. Alongside the bodies was a chilling message claiming that these 2 men were hitmen from the Beltran-Leyva cartel and were executed to teach respect for my children. The brutality of the scene sent shivers down the spines of those who came across it. 5 more bodies were found near that same area with notes attached to them. It was clear that they were from El Ondeado, who was so emotionally unstable at the time that he could not contain his grief. In late 2009, a red sedan was found. In its trunk were the remains of many men, including the chief police officer connected to the case of Torres Félix's son. In the coming weeks, almost 200 bodies were found dumped around the Culiacan area of Mexico. In September of 2008, police seized a ranch used by narcos and found several tons of narcotics and hundreds of firearms and ammunition. Alongside was a picture of El Ondeado with his nephew Misael Torres Urrea. The photo became viral and was used on many pages all across social media. It signified El Ondeado's paternal side and how he must have cared for his son the same way he did for his nephew. The rivalry between the Beltran-Leyva cartel and El Ondeado was cut short after the leader of the cartel, Arturo Beltran-Leyva, was found and a few days later deceased at a lavish Christmas party that he had thrown for his guests in December 2009. There happened to be a Grammy-winning South American music artist at the party as well, but good music could not save the infamous narco-trafficker. Tragically, El Ondeado's life came to a violent end during a brutal police shootout. On the early morning of October 13, 2021, amidst the crossfire between the Mexican army and his gang members, Manuel Torres Félix, El Ondeado, was fatally shot and passed away. This is the tale of a man who experienced the ultimate grief with the loss of his son, and serves as a chilling reminder of the consequences that unfold when one takes the life of a ruthless drug lord's son. Was his justice the right way to deal with grief? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Central for more thrilling content ahead.